Well, anytime you do a presentation, either for a large group or in a classroom, you really need to have the right document camera that is robust and powerful, yet easy to set up and use. So today on Let's Talk Computers, we are continuing our conversation on the many benefits of the next generation Solo 5 5-megapixel document camera. It's our pleasure to have as our guest again, John Miewald, Marketing Manager for Pathway Innovations and Technologies, Inc., and welcome back to Let's Talk Computers, John.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having me again.
Last time we were talking about the world's fastest 5-megapixel document camera, the Solo 5, and this unit is so easy to set up because a lot of times you get a scanner, you unpack it, and then you have the install software that you have to run, and then you have maybe some kind of training that you have to go through to get it just exactly the way you want. How easy is this to get up and running?
It just takes that one cable to hook it up. So the one cable just plugs into your USB 2.0 port on your computer. From there, it's already powered and essentially ready to be used. But you'll also be prompted immediately to install the software. The software is on the device itself, so you'll see the menu of options for the software, and HoverCam Flex is what you'll install. There's no downloads, there's no disk or anything else you need to worry about, just the device has the software. It's pretty instinctive to use just right out of the box. Now, there are advanced features, like I was saying, so somebody that's a little bit more technical might want to delve into those advanced features. But if you wanted to just use it as a presentation device, you could do that almost immediately. It does have a Twain driver, so if you have other software you want to use with this as a scanner, you could. There's even an MSI installer, so if you bought it for your entire company or for an entire school, your IT person could install it on all the computers at once, and the people that are maybe not as technically savvy wouldn't have to worry about doing the installation themselves. They'd have it all ready to go.
So this has a single camera, but it's made in such a way that it is very flexible. You can tilt it, pan it any way you want to do, all the way down to looking at just a quarter.
You could use it as a presentation tool, let's say in a classroom or in a boardroom or whatever it might be that you happen to be doing presentations, just like a regular document camera. Or you could flip it up and use it as a webcam. Or you could, like you're saying, position it down really close to something, maybe use it as a scanner. And it scans into JPEG, bitmap, TIFF, GIF, directly to PDF or multi-page PDF, so you can make an ebook. It even records both video and audio. It has a built-in microphone. So let's say, for example, if you're a teacher, you might record your lessons every time you come in and teach a class, but record both video and audio. And then we also have built-in cloud services, so you could upload that file to Dropbox, Picasa, Evernote, whatever you might want to upload to. Share those lessons with students that might be absent, or maybe it's just a lesson you want them to review when they go home or right before the big test.
When you're doing presentations, in most cases the presenter is going to be in the dark, so that's why you have a switch on the side that will turn on either one LED or two LEDs and give us all the light that we need.
So you don't need an extra light anywhere, and there are some cameras that don't have lights and you have to position it somewhere around the camera, and often the camera ends up casting a shadow because the light comes between. Ours has a built-in LED light. LEDs are rumored to last 1,000 years. I can't prove that yet because they haven't been around for 1,000 years yet. They're not bulbs that you replace. Other document cameras, often the bulb that you need, they burn out. They cost as much as buying an entire Solo 5. We always say if the bulb burns out, just buy a Solo 5. It's probably going to be more cost-effective. But there are two settings on the light, so you determine how much light you want. Often the software itself is enough. The software will compensate for low light conditions. Kind of depends on how dark the room is. But for most rooms that don't even have lights on, but maybe just light coming in from a window, it's just fine. You don't really need the light on.
Now, we've been talking about using it, for doing presentations, like for slides and for 3D objects, but it's also a video capture system too, isn't it?
Record directly to an AVI file, both video and audio. From that point, you can upload them to cloud services like Evernote, Dropbox, Picasa, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you'd like to share those, or maybe just save them for yourself, and when you need to, you could bring those recorded sessions out.
Now, you mentioned that this comes with a microphone.
It's a very good microphone. It will very clearly pick up your voice, even if you're, let's say, 3 or 4 feet away. And if you're even further away, it can go up to 30 feet. But in general, people use that to record their presentations. So they're using that in conjunction with that video mode that I was talking about.
So this would be great for, say, doing presentations on YouTube. So many times people are trying to do a presentation using their smartphone. It is terrible. Here, you have 3D capabilities, and they can talk at the same time and really do a nice presentation.
In YouTube videos, you'll see somebody reviewing something. Let's say they're talking about some object. And the way that they'll talk about the object, let's say it's a cell phone, for example, they'll have to hold up the cell phone to the camera and kind of show you as they hit the buttons, or an iPad or something like that, or a tablet. This is ideal for showing something like that, something that you actually have to interact with. It's basically a camera on a stick. It's intended to be a camera held above something, usually a document. But if you're doing a YouTube presentation or whatever it might be, very easily you could stick your iPad, your iPhone, whatever it might be, underneath the camera, and it's going to show both the video and the audio, so you can show how you hit the different buttons, what screens you're going to, swiping, all of that. I mean, it's really ideal for anybody that has to interacting with a device like that.
And what comes with the Solo 5 when you get it?
It comes with the Solo 5 device itself. There's also the USB cable. I believe it's around 3 feet. There's a positioning mat, and this is a special mat that's treated green. And green's kind of a special color for our software, where it'll be able to better compensate for color and stuff. Now, you don't have to use the positioning mat, but some people find it useful because it shows you where to put the camera and where to put the document. So it really spells it out for you. And there's also a carrying pouch, kind of to protect the device, make sure it doesn't get scratched or anything like that.
Because it's a green screen, you can actually use it as a green screen, where you can have software that can make things appear in the background and overlay them, and so many people are doing that now.
You could use it as a chroma key if you wanted to. Now, our software doesn't do chroma key, but if you have something, let's say like Premiere or whatever it is you might be using for video editing, you could key that particular shade of green and use it just like you're describing.
This works on the PC, works on an XP and Vista and Windows 7. What other operating systems does this work on?
Windows 8 as well, so it's available for Windows 8. It works on Mac or PC. It just really needs a USB port to exchange the data and to power it.
So it doesn't have to have a USB 3. It doesn't have to have a high-powered piece of equipment.
USB 2.0 is just fine.
And what is the weight of this?
Less than a foot tall when it's folded down. It folds further from there. So there's a joint between the base and the post that lets you kind of flatten it even further. When it's fully extended, it ends up being around, I would say, 15 or 16 inches tall. And that's when you want to be able to scan, let's say, the front page of a newspaper or something like that. It has a weighted base, so it's not that heavy just because of the electronics, but we weighted the base a little bit more so that you could lean it forward without it tipping. As a result, it ends up being around 2 pounds, which is still really light, so it's still, carry-on luggage if you were going through the airport, for example. I have carried this through the airport, by the way. The TSA is perfectly fine with these devices, at least as far as I've seen. Portable, definitely. Now, there is a Kensington lock slot on the back of the device. So if you, for example, wanted to keep this out on your desk at a place that was more public, let's say you had it in a classroom or at a busy office, you could lock it down so that it's not going to disappear one day.
And it also has a micro USB port on the back. What do we use that for?
That's just another way of hooking it up. So if you needed to, you could use that as well.
Now, when you designed the Solo 5, who did you design it for, and who did you find out that was actually using it most?
Initially, we thought that this would be great for business application, that a lot of business people would want this because it doesn't take up much room, and really, at $299, everyone in your office could probably have one. It's not too expensive necessarily, or at least the executives could all have one. You could all have your own personal scanner and input device and all of that. The people that ended up using it, though, most were teachers. And they ended up using it in the classroom for instruction. And it's taken the place of those overhead projectors, with the old transparencies. They find that this is just much easier. You don't need to worry about transparencies. You don't need to worry about using a special pen or anything. It's just whatever you put under the camera, you can start writing on it, or whatever book or photograph or anything else you'd like to show under there. Maybe even, some kind of creature, some kind of a lab sample or something along those lines.
And what are we looking at as far as the cost of this product?
It MSRP's at $299, and I always quote MSRP price because I'm with the manufacturer. There are resellers throughout the country who sell it for less, particularly for educators. We have a lot of people in the K through 12 field and also in higher education that like to use these for teaching their classes.
And you make a lot of different types of document tools. What are some of the other type of tools that you make?
We have a variety of document camera models. Roughly, they're all priced around the same level, so they're all around $299 or even lower. We did that because we want for people to pick out the camera that's right for them. We don't want people to pick out a camera because it's the cheap one. So everything's priced about the same, but we have document cameras with 2 cameras in them, for example, for doing picture-in-picture. That would be the Neo 3, which also outputs directly to VGA. So if you didn't want to go through the computer, you could just hook this right up to a projector, but you could also take advantage of the software we've been talking about. We have another one called the Mini 5 that's going to be coming out very shortly, and it's a real small one. It's about the size of a candy bar. It could fit in your pocket. So if you really need a mobile one, that would be the one for you. And then, of course, we got the old standbys, the T3 and the T5. The T3 has been one of those cameras that, we've seen just immense growth selling the HoverCam T3. People really take to it very strongly. That one's only $219 MSRP. It has the same software as the Solo 5. Doesn't quite move in the same amount of positions, and it's a 3-megapixel camera, but still a great device.
And if somebody would like to find out more information about the Solo 5 and some of your other great document scanners, where would they go?
The site is www.thehovercam.com. That's THEHOVERCAM.com. Or you can call us. We're in San Diego, California. Call us at 858-750-3499, and we're more than happy to answer questions or talk to anybody about our devices, give them more information.
Well, John, it looks like we've run out of time, and we didn't even have a chance to talk about how to use the next generation Solo 5 as a scanner, and I look forward to continuing this conversation next time.
Well, thanks, Alan. Forward to it next time.